So, hi everybody. Welcome, welcome. And excuse me for being a
Hey.
cosplay sort of Statue of Liberty.
Well, I'd say you're doing a fine job.
Right?
Yep, absolutely. So, I'm really pleased to be here this evening. I got dressed up because Carolyn asked me if people were going to dress up. So I said I didn't want her to be the only one. So, and I don't see them yet. I'm hoping that they are going to be here very soon.
They're still putting their makeup on. I
Maybe
could go
they
back
are.
and put it back on. It was
And
really
maybe,
quick.
yeah, maybe they are. Yeah. So anyway, let me introduce the panel that is here tonight. We have Hershey, the Shadow Reader, that's here, and we have Terry holding your space,
Hello.
and underneath Terry is Earth Spirit Amy, and these are all people who have had ghostly experiences, actually, and Diana Bowles, oil painter, yep, and Warrior Girls with us too, yay! So
Yay.
thank you all for being here, ready to share.
Namaste, everyone.
Namaste. Yeah. So she's a little shy, but that's okay. So we got used to that with Juno, so it's okay. Yep.
That's right.
Absolutely. Yep. So yes, thanks for being here. I don't know how we're going to go ahead and do this because our guests of honor aren't here just yet. But I have texted them a couple times to find out where they are. And so yeah. Anyway, yeah. Terry's wearing another crown. And,
Mine is subtle.
Yes, yours is subtle. And Diana has her hat on, and Amy has a black cat. So
that's right. That counts.
yeah. So I guess what we could do is we could start out by instead of giving typical experiences until they get here, you could talk a little bit about when your belief in ghosts might have entered your world, and we can start out that way. And then once the Bookers are here, hopefully she'll be able to do some others. The crowns are like halos. Thank you, Anne. You're so sweet. So Hershey, why don't you go ahead and tell us? When did you believe in it right from the get-go, or did you grow up with it, or
I've been seeing them my whole life.
Your whole
life. So
okay.
This is nothing new.
Okay. So were you afraid of them?
I was so young. I enjoyed them. I had this older gentleman his name was Ford. He was pretty cool. He let me know kind of the good ones, the bad ones, that they weren't imaginary. You know, he kind of was there when I needed him. He kind of reminded me of the way I was describing him. My mother said it sounded like I was describing the man from one of them scary movies with the white hair. I can't remember what the name of the movie is right now, but with Carol Ann, the little girl Carol Ann. But so my family was scared. They were intimidated. They thought I was seeing imaginary people or whatever. They didn't understand it. But it wasn't until I got a little older that I started, because I was doing the wrong things, I started running into the wrong energies, and I started getting a little scared and a little intimidated. So, I started figuring out other ways to block them out and kind of avoid that as I got a little older, because, I didn't want to be the weirdo talking to, people that were already on the other side.
Sure, I understand. It's really hard. We were just talking about that in the other show that we were doing with the mediums, that, when you're a spiritual person and you have all these experiences, you lose a lot of friends, you lose a lot of family, you lose a lot, it's not like it was your choice to be that way or to be able to see those things. But because you do, and because you are the way you are, people sort of fear it for some reason. So we tend to either shut it down when we're younger, or we just don't go there with some people. So yeah,
absolutely true.
Yeah, thank you. So Terry, how about you?
Hershey, I think ours are a lot alike. Yeah, I started seeing them pretty young, and I had these little angels that would come and help me, and they showed me how to put my face in my pillow at night and change the channel if something came on that I didn't care for.
Oh,
So,
okay.
so that's what I do too. If somebody came that, made me kind of scared me a little bit.
Sure.
Different types of energy, which they were probably fine, but
Mhm.
they were just, I didn't know what to do with the way they looked.
Sure.
And then, yeah, and then when I started painting quite young, I would always paint gremlins and Arcturians, and now I know who they are.
Now you know who they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So yes, Heather, Heather is in the chat. She says she was tormented by an evil spirit as a kid. Oh, Heather, that's awful. Oh my
Heather.
goodness. Yeah. Just awful. Hard to deal with. So okay. Thanks, Terry. Amy, how about you?
Well, I never really see ghosts. Thank goodness. I think there's something in me that's like that would just be too terrifying. I don't like to have a door open at night, so I don't like to see the hallway.
Okay.
But I've had those experiences where I can't go to graveyards. I hear the whispers in the wind. One time it was on my honeymoon, my ex, and hello. Phew, here we are.
Hi guys. We're just having them talk a little bit about how when they first started seeing ghosts and things while we were waiting for you. So here we'll I'm going to put you up here. Woohoo! All right. So go ahead, Amy. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Well, oddly enough, I was on my honeymoon and we were at some old bed and breakfast, and I guess I didn't hear that there had been a funeral parlor there. And that whole night, I could feel someone staring at me, and it was very unnerving. And I remember saying to someone, "Is this place haunted?" And they were like, "Shh," like, "Don't say that." And I looked it up on my own later and found out that indeed it was, and many people had experiences there. So that was
Okay. So you more feel it than saw it.
Yeah.
Is the way you feel it. Yeah, I get it. Wow. All right, Diana. What about you?
Like the two above,
Uh-huh.
started at a very early age. And I would just talk to these spirits that showed up. And most of the time, well, I shouldn't say most of the time. A lot of the time when I was little, it was summer. The screen was right by my bed. My brother and I shared a room, and I would be talking out the window to the entities.
Oh.
And I could hear my mother say, "Who's she talking to?" To my dad. And I would just keep rattling on.
Yep.
And I've been very blessed, very lucky. I have no malevolent spirits coming in my direction.
Good. Let's keep it that way.
I'm working that.
You're working. Oh, good. Okay.
I think so.
How about you, Warrior Girl? What can you tell us about when it started for you?
At a very early age, my parents had moved me out to the country from the city and during first grade and into an old farmhouse that was over 100 years old. And they were comfortable with the previous family that had about 4 children of their own and lots and lots of horses and like on average a half a dozen foster children. And but when we moved in, it freaked us out because you could hear them walk over the cold air duct that was on the floor, and on the stairs, certain parts of the stairs would creak, and you could hear them walking around. And as a result, it freaked us out.
Sure.
Which I think might have freaked them out. But They weren't too bad, except for if somebody was in the house doing something they shouldn't have, like snooping around. They scared the crap out of a neighbor's kid one time.
They were protecting you.
Yes, they were protecting the house. No one was home. The boy come running down the road, and he was half Native American, but on that evening, he looked whiter than a ghost himself. He was so scared. And then there was I have more stories as well, not only at that childhood home, but also a friend's house that she rented. If you want me to talk about it later on or something.
Yeah, I do. Thank you, Warrior Girl. So welcome to our esteemed Ghostbusters here, Carolyn and Peter Booker. We're so glad to have you. Thanks for being here.
We're glad to be here. Technically challenged, but otherwise here.
So I was just worried. Oh my God, the panel is here, but you're not here. And what am I going to talk about? So thank you for coming in. So yes, I just decided that I would ask them what their first experience was. And I was thinking, how would you like to do this? Would you like some of them to explain some of their experiences that they had? And maybe will you be able to figure out what was going on, Carolyn? I don't know how this, how we might look at something like this.
They can do that, and I can try to pick it up.
Okay. Yeah. I was just thinking that, you have that ability to just sort of zone in on different things. I think it was wonderful you zoned in on Joan's husband at the last hour. And that was great. He just passed last year. And yeah, he did. He just passed last year. And it was a big surprise. It was like he was fine one day and not the next. And so, yeah. So, that was a very nice surprise. Anyway, so yes, first of all, let me also say thanks to everybody for being here. Everybody here, we've got Scorpio Mama, Amanda, Craig, Ann Simpson's here. Mary's here, Mary Thornberry, Mousy Girl, Seascape. Terry is here. Wow. Heather is here. And who else has come in? Lori Hunsinger and Mousy Girl is here. And Suzanne Rich, God bless you. We were all praying for you. We're glad you're doing much better, and much love to you and Wayne. And we have Martha Bean, and we have Pisces Greeter and Bella and Lori. Wow. Got a lot of people here today. Thanks all for coming. I've been excited. I think all of us have been excited about this. And if I missed you, it wasn't on purpose. Thank you all for being here. So, all right. So, who would like to be the first one to tell a ghost story?
Ali, I could tell you my first experience with Carol.
Okay. Please.
I'll tell. Yeah. We'd only been married a couple of weeks, if that. And laying in bed one night, there was light coming in from the street. So we lived in a town in Newbury. And as I woke up in the middle of the night, and I looked at the end of the bed, and there was somebody stood at the end of the bed. So I didn't think anything of it. I put my hand down to the right, touched Carol's leg, and realized it wasn't her. Wow. Whoever it was, and there's more to that, it disappeared into our closet very quickly. And I was sweating the scent of roses. Carol, for several days before it, had been seeing roses.
Okay. Yep.
And unbeknownst to me, this was her grandmother. She'd come to check me out, and her favorite flowers were roses.
The last flowers I gave her were peach-colored roses.
Pink-colored roses. Was she the one in the bed?
No, she was the one at the closet.
Yeah.
All right.
Carol was in bed.
I was going to say she fancied your husband. I didn't know.
Yeah, so I jumped.
Oh, surprise! Guess who you married?
Yeah.
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 Right.
So she
So
come to
you
check me
didn't
out.
really know that she had these gifts before you got married, or you just thought they were
Yeah, I think
uh,
she'd spoken to me about
okay.
about these gifts. So I was going in with eyes open, if you will.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. But now you see them. Now you see them more than
I have done.
some of the time.
Also, as a child, I used to as well.
Oh, okay. So you did too.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
had. I was a twin, and I think at least 2 or 3 times he died. He passed at birth. I've seen it,
Okay.
and I used to interact with him when I was very young. And I also always remember him sitting down beside my bed. He was always there at night. And I
Yeah.
talked. I didn't know who it was.
Sure.
And then several times following that, I've seen him. Just glimpses. And Carol's seen him too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Peter was in Japan, and I was vacuuming the front room, and I looked up out the window, and I saw Peter walk past, and I went,
Yep.
He's in Japan. Wait a minute.
I was just
Yeah.
checking.
Yeah.
And oh, it must be his twin. Oh, hi.
Yeah. So he was as old as Peter when you saw him? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm thinking if he died at birth, he's just a baby, but I guess you can be any age you want when you're over there. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I think he's growing with Peter.
With Peter. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's
What a
better looking
beautiful
than I am.
story. Yeah. That's
Sure he is.
awesome.
Well, you were twins. So.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That is interesting, because I do think that spirits grow up with us if we have a connection, and they grow on the other side with us. It's interesting.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I should introduce you to everybody, Carolyn and Peter. Next to you, there is Hershey, the shadow reader. And Hershey has just started a channel recently, and she has had a lot of ghost experiences. And then Terry Renner, which I think you know Terry from the Dream Show.
Yeah.
Right. And under her is Amy, who was just talking, and she's also a psychic. And John Lennon happens to be one of her spirit guides.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
Isn't that cool?
Love
Yeah. Pretty cool. And then we have Diana Bowles, and you know Diana too from the Dream Show. Yeah. And then we have Warrior Girl, who presents as a rose, and that's okay. And she is also a person who is very psychic and in tune, and a very busy girl in the chat. So she's always spot on. So
it's a pleasure to meet you both.
And look at me, I dressed up just for you, Carolyn. I hope.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm a ghost, of course.
Yes. You're a ghost. Are you a Ghostbuster?
I'm a ghost hunter. I've got my graveyard.
I love it.
You follow Dalen Spratt, do you? You know Dalen Spratt from the Ghost Brothers?
Yep. Yep.
He does a graveyard shift, and we support.
Yep, that's awesome. So Rossi in the chat, I've never seen spirits till the last couple of weeks. So she's someone in the reflection on my cell phone. And last Sunday I saw a white mist in my family room. Okay. So the white mist in your family room is very fascinating. And you know why? I think is because your vibration is higher and you are sort of meeting the ghosts at their level. Would you say that's true, Carolyn?
She's growing. She's opening.
Yep. She's opening up. Okay.
Yeah.
That's really awesome.
And there's nothing to be afraid of. You know.
Right.
This is not going to hurt her.
Right. Right. Yep.
This is one of her guides showing themselves.
Oh, very good. So there you go.
I'm here. I'm here to watch you grow, help you grow.
Okay. Thank you. Yes. Rossi, you got a special message then. One of your guides is there with you. That's fabulous. Maybe that was who you saw in your cell phone too, but you didn't see the full look. That's wonderful. Look at that. All right. So Hershey, you want to give us an encounter?
Oh my God, I have thousands.
I'm sure you do. You're going to have to pick one.
I'm a hunter. I help cross. I work with them 24/7. I go to houses of extreme energy and I try to help neutralize some of the areas. I do a lot for the dead. I don't even know what stories to tell. I've been to war to help them, and I've been to the other side and walked with them. So I've done a lot. So I mean, I do actually now I do wonder, like, so there is a difference. Like when I walk onto a sacred land, I get a like a vibration in my fingertips, and here lately. I kind of have their permission, but they want me to. I'm assuming I've been checking into it. It's called energy bending, and I'm not sure like what it is, but I hear that it's different than like jumping or vesseling, and I'm not sure about it. Have you guys ever done it, worked with it, seen it done?
No,
is it
I
wormhole?
haven't seen it.
Heard that.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, the energy bending. Yeah, see, that's me. I've heard of it, but I've never actually seen anybody do it.
No,
I've never been able to trance that long, so I'm not sure. But like I
This-
heard
the ability. This is the ability to you can bend your body in all different shapes to gather energies from different perspectives.
Oh well, see, they didn't say nothing about contorting. They just said that.
But it sounds like shape shifting. It almost sounds like
They told me that I would just trance, and I would allow my medium energy to interact with their energy for more engagement with like the message, or if they were trying to write a letter or something that maybe was unfinished, but not in a negative aspect. So I was under the impression that the energy bending would be to help with maybe the last message, or to relay a very specific situation maybe. But now that you said that, I'm not contorting or doing any of that. That doesn't sound very helpful at all.
Yeah. That's very advanced. But
Well, I'm
in the back bend.
I'm pretty advanced. I'm pretty advanced when it comes to working with them. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm definitely interested in it, but I'll just keep asking around about it, I guess.
Interesting what you say about walking on the other side of them as well. That sounds intriguing.
I've died twice and came back, so I definitely I can relate to them sometimes easier than the living. So it's sometimes difficult for me to interact with humans. Like I feel kind of odd, like I do right now, because it's like, well, who? I'm still wondering who I'm supposed to be talking to, because they keep saying talk, reach one, teach one, and it's like, well, who? Because everybody I ask, they're not understanding it either. But
Terry started to say something, and she's very into it. So Terry, what did you get?
I'm wondering if you're not doing some wormholes and jumping dimensions with them.
I don't know. Being a trans medium, they told me that all I have to do is just either sit, lay, or stand, and I would briefly interact with them, and that I would energy bend with them, and they would be able to, I feel like they were trying to tell me I was about to have a Whoopi Goldberg and a ghost situation, where somebody could dance their last dance with somebody. So actually, I don't know. So I'm kind of all over the place with everybody. Sure. Like I heard it was this, I heard it was this. So I'm taking it all in is what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, so, which is what you're supposed to be doing.
The wormhole, you could jump from universe to universe. Like
that would be interesting. So I'm going to look at it from that point too. So that's interesting. Thank you.
So it puts you in a trance state. Is that correct?
Yes, I do that when I cross them over, or if I'm attempting to help them with a dark object or some kind of elemental or a creature or something. I have to be in a trance state, and my mediumship channels something. I'm not sure. I know it's not one of these guys, so I just know that I call it uni, as in the universe,
Uh-huh.
and
Wow.
I sit there and I do what spiritually I'm doing.
Wow, that's amazing.
Now, when you went to the other side, when you had your NDE, I don't consider it a near-death experience, because I believe that if you're dead, you're dead.
Yeah, I flatlined twice.
Back, but it's not, if your heart stops, that's,
Right.
Did you have, in the first few seconds when you arrived, did you know the answer to everything that happened in the world?
No, not for me. It wasn't. I felt like I woke up in a Dante Inferno's oil painting. I didn't know what was going on. There was levels and layers and layers and levels, and I saw creatures and demons and angels and immortals and minotaurs and centaur. I saw things that I couldn't understand, and I saw energy floating around, blobbing everywhere, up and down. I saw manifestations. I saw people like in charging booths, but not people. It was, I don't know how. I can't put into words what all I saw, but I know that when I came back the second time, I remembered every single thing to a T, and I've tried to push it away, and it's the universe goes completely harder on me the harder I push against it. So now it's just, when they say jump, I say how high.
Wow, that's amazing. Everybody's has such a different experience. When Carolyn and Peter were talking at the last show, they were saying how the portals opening, and that was what I was getting. And then Terry said wormholes, and it just sounds like a portal to me in some way. Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
Thanks, Hershey. Terry, you want to share a time?
Okay, I'll share a good one here.
Okay.
We moved to we lived in an older part of town, and we moved. My parents built a house way out in the suburbs, and it was like a cornfield on one side and woods behind us. But there were a few other houses on the block, and it turned into a neighborhood. But eventually, my screen door would bring in entities, and I could see their faces. And like Benjamin Franklin was there at one point. There were indigenous people there in the screen. Their faces would come in all the time.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think it was Civil War, probably Civil War.
Okay. Was this when were you in Missouri then?
I was in Missouri. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was in Missouri.
Yeah.
And it was, and there were Civil Wars there, or part of the,
yes,
whatever you call
that's
it.
why I asked. Yeah.
Fighting.
Sure.
Yeah. And quite a few indigenous tribes there.
Sure. Wow. Any thoughts, Carolyn? Sounds to me like they were just Civil War energy. Was it Civil War energy? Was that what it was?
Yeah, they're walkthroughs.
Oh, okay.
They didn't stay.
No.
Right.
They were walkthroughs.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're just kind of seeing what you're doing. What's going on today? Don't want to talk to her. Leave her alone.
Wow.
Yeah.
So there are people that do that. I mean, there are ghosts that do that. They come back and just check out things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So they aren't necessarily tied to the earth as much as, like you said, they just come through when maybe they're bored.Maybe things are not so great over there. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, one thing we have in common is Benjamin Franklin.
Okay.
I was sick when we lived in the Blair house. John Blair signed the Constitution. And I was sick in bed, and I heard a knock on the front door. And I couldn't get out of bed to save my soul, you know. And I heard somebody coming up the stairs. I thought it was Peter.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked over, and there was Benjamin Franklin.
Wow.
With George Washington.
Holy cow.
Interesting.
Wow.
And Benjamin Franklin looked at me, and he said, "She's going to be fine. She's going to be all right." And see, George Washington had been in our house.
Right. Okay.
Nice.
So he was worried about me, and he brought in the doctor.
Oh,
You know, I mean, I didn't know that much about Washington, but I knew this guy had a barrel chest.
right.
And he had pock marks in his face. And I didn't know that
Yeah.
I didn't know that he had that. And I explained it to Peter, and Peter said that was really him, because
Yeah.
you know, everybody imagines him with smooth skin and everything, but he didn't. He was pock marked.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I feel a lot better. I'm getting up.
So you didn't notice his wooden teeth, I guess. You
He actually didn't have wooden teeth. He had ivory and bone.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So a lot of misnomers there. Yeah, it makes sense. He probably had small, you know, one of the poxes, and it kept him pockmarked, or maybe acting. Yeah.
Killed his
Wow.
brother. He died of it. Brother.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. That makes sense
That's
then.
sad.
Wow. 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 Well, Amy, do you have anything that happened that you'd like to share?
Well, I'd like to say that's interesting about George Washington, because during 2020, with all the turmoil, I saw him a lot, and he made me write out a whole thing from him about how he did not ratify the Declaration of Independence, and I didn't know what that word ratify meant. So I saw him with the third eye, and then he imprinted his face on the carpet, which is what spirit does to me a lot. They see him on the carpet. It's weird. And so that's, I think what it is he's a father figure to a lot of us. And
okay.
Yeah. Well, my experience, here's a question. So I see flashes of light. I don't really see spirits so much as flashes of light, and their faces imprinted. But here's something that's been happening to me a lot. I'll have my furnace will blow out, my internet will go out, the breaker will go out just on like upstairs where the microwave is. And I think it's spirits, because when I will try to capture a lot of orbs, that's when that stuff happens to me. So I think I have a portal in my wall, and the spirits fly through, and then they knock out all my stuff.
They're using the energy.
That's right.
Yeah.
They're collecting more energy.
Oh boy.
So that you can see them. Is that what it is? So that she can see them? The collecting the energy for the orbs?
It
Or?
could be that.
Continue on. So
Okay.
It could be like if I get ignoring them, if I'm ignoring them, or if I'm busy, like they'll do ornery stuff. Like yesterday, they kept knocking my curtains down, and I'm like, "Stop it!" And they just wouldn't stop. I'm like, "I'm about to go live. Are you kidding me right now? You guys come play with cards." And it was the only thing, they would not leave my curtains alone. They kept knocking them down.
Wow. That's
Like,
amazing.
stop. So if I ignore them, yeah, they can do that. So if you're doing that, then yeah, well, not really ignoring them, but if they don't understand you're not seeing them, then yeah, they could be getting frustrated and moving, so you know where to look at.
Yeah.
Yeah, I usually tell ghosts, if you make a mess, if you can do that, you're cleaning it up.
Get firm with them, Amy. Get firm. Get
The
firm.
mom voice.
Remember in Ghostbusters when it's like, get them? It's like, sure, right.
So,
Can't really grab
not
them.
now, I'm busy.
Right. Absolutely. So
Yeah.
Katie Arbuckle says she had an experience with the founding fathers when she was younger. She heard all of them bickering in Independence Hall when she was there. That is really amazing. That is so amazing.
Oh yeah, they bickered.
Yeah. And then
Oh,
she said
yeah.
she had Hamilton during 2020, and they kept bringing the
Wow.
musical.
Wow.
You just know Alexander Hamilton was in Miranda's ear that whole time, right? That-
Yeah, going, that's
Yeah.
right, that's right. No, that's wrong. That bit's wrong.
Yep.
Yep.
That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's
but
amazing.
I see recently the white orbs side.
Uh-huh.
They like twinkle. And then if I turn, they're gone.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's
You
the-
can't look at them face on, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the layering of the veil is so
Yes.
thin
Mm-hmm.
that we're
Right.
beginning to see things that we wouldn't normally see.
That's true. Wow. So Kay said the only ghost she's ever seen was her cat 4 months after he passed. She saw him in the hallway when she got back from running errands. It startled me, but I know I saw him. I saw my dog too. I saw my dog,
Yeah.
and she was, and my other 2 dogs went over to lay down with her. Yeah, because they miss her. Yeah,
Beautiful.
I know. I know. It's
Yeah,
so nice.
I see my Shih Tzu, Max.
You do? Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. And that's what my dog. Well, this one was the Sheltie, but my Shih Tzus are. They see the Sheltie all the time.
Mm.
So Wayne says when Suzanne's father was sick with cancer, we were driving home from a visit and smelled cigarette smoke in our car. His mother was a chain smoker, and a few days later he passed.
Mm.
Wow.
She was there waiting on him.
She was waiting. Absolutely.
That happened in my family on the way to the funeral.
Oh.
They smelled cigar smoke.
Uh-huh.
The relative that had passed smoked a cigar.
Uh-huh.
And they all
In a ride.
he's going, I really don't want to ride in that thing. Could I come with you in the family car?
Yeah.
That's just my dead body over there. I think I'll come with you guys.
Yeah.
You're more fun. Yeah. Oh, that's something else. Wow. So Amy, I guess you have to get tough on these entities that are in your wall.
I
Don't you
guess. I mean,
Yeah.
how do you have a lecture with it's a lot of them? It's a lot of them too. So
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah, you need to ask them if they hang around long enough.
Yeah.
Ask them, how can you help them?
okay.
You should be able to get an answer. Yeah.
Yeah. They may be coming to you for help because they know you're open.
Mm-hmm.
All
So
right.
how can I help you?
That's good. Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
You're welcome.
All right. So Diana. Oh my God, Diana's probably another one that's got 100
Yeah.
different.
I'm sitting here
Stories.
going through the thumb index, which one,
Yeah.
which
Uh-huh.
one. So because you're Virginia Nights, I'm going to start with my connection with George and Ben. But because I lived in Chantilly for 30 years, just outside, 3 miles away from Camp Washington. And the first time George showed himself to me, I was going up to Berryville, and I was going to be doing a house clearing up there. And so I was walking the land with the gal who owned it, trying to get a feel for all of the energy around it.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept seeing this guy dressed in fringe with a leather pouch, and he was young. And I also kept seeing a Revolutionary War officer's uniform on a hanger.
Oh.
But the character I was seeing was very youthful. Certainly not in soldier gear, right? He's carrying this pouch and walking around and writing things down in a journal, and he walked all around with me.
Oh.
Unbeknownst to me,
Mhm.
right? Unbeknownst to me, this was all territory that George Washington had surveyed long before this country was going through its revolution.
Right.
And because I was by Camp Washington, once I got all of that explained to Linda, she understood that, oh, George was all over here when he was a kid, because that was his job, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So when I got back home, which Chantilly's an hour away from Berryville, hour and a half. So then I started to hang around Camp Washington more often. That's Old Town Fairfax and downtown Fairfax itself, right? So it's right at that borderline, just as you get out of Chantilly and getting into the Fairfax area. So that's where the soldiers were camped. That's where George would be camped, in downtown Fairfax, in Old Town. And so I got familiar with seeing him around and seeing Ben come and go. And of course, Jefferson come and go. So those three came around me quite a bit.
Wow.
Well, being in Chantilly, I'm also my property was part of the Battle of Bull Run, the second one.
Oh. Okay.
And the Manassas. I should speak as a Southerner. The second battle of Manassas. So it was this second battle that took place on my property, but I was no longer part of all of that sacred and hallowed ground that is where the stone house is, and where the battle began, and when they burned the train and all of that business in Manassas. It was about 10 miles from there. Mm-hmm. So I had been building a little deck out of my back door and moving paver tiles that I'd already had in place, but moving them farther away from the sliding door. And I worked very hard at this with cinder blocks, because I used to just do it with mulch. And my neighbor said, no, you got to do this and this and this. And so I was doing it the right way, but also digging deeper than I'd ever dug before. Now, this area was underneath trees. And as I was getting to the very end, and this, whomever it is still with me, and maybe you can help me identify who this person is. As I was in the last stages, I stood up and went, holy shit, you've done something here. And I stooped back down, and this voice from behind me goes, I love you. Just like that. I expected someone to be standing there. The hackles on my everywhere. My entire body stood up, because there had been nobody there. Not even my ravens were around.
Mm-hmm. Is it Lafayette? He would be speaking in French.
Pretty French. It sounded pretty
was it French or German? Because there were quite a lot of German.
It sounded French, maybe Spanish, which could have been also. But I don't know. And what I can't get a understanding is this a revolutionary soldier? Or was this a Civil War soldier? And he comes still.
He followed you to Michigan?
When he said, I love you, after I took a deep breath, I thought, I just unearthed somebody who had been trapped here for a very, very long time in the tree roots. This was a spirit who I do know that he died painfully and slowly. Mm. And because of his accent, was it really an accent, or was he just talking like that because he was finally unearthed?
Oh, man.
I mean, he's here with me now, and I still don't know who he is. And
he was a revolutionary.
Okay. That was my first instinct, was that.
Mhm.
Yeah. And he was away from his family. And he knew he wasn't going to get back. And all he craved was love.
Oh.
And he attached to you because you set him free.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, he is in. Sorry. He's just
Okay.
thank you. And thank you,
Mhm. It's okay.
Carolyn.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yep. That's wonderful, Diana. So he's with you now? Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
He's here right now.
He's here right
And then
now. Okay.
Yeah,
there's the story that's in the house that I have right now. The family that I purchased it from had raised children here. This all mocks my neighborhood in Chantilly so much I can't explain it.
Mhm.
And she had lived in this house for 30 years, just as I had lived in my house down there for 30 years. And one of her children died suddenly as an adult. He was 34 years old.
No.
And I wonder if he's in here because there is something, and I have a stairway that is 13 stairs straight down.
Mhm.
And when I first looked at this place, I looked down that stair, and that's not what I was used to. And I went and took a deep breath. That's straight down. It's not a prolonged staircase, that's for sure. So I have gotten to the point where I say, you have no power here. Every time I have to gasp when I look at that stairway. So I'm wondering if is the 34-year-old adult here in his childhood memories acting out, torturing his sisters or his younger brother or something to that. And what do you get on that? Because since I have started saying you have no power here, it's smoother decline. Like,
well, he was a stinker.
he's yeah, that's what he was a great high school teacher and a very surprised death. So, in high school, I mean,
Yeah,
you had to be a stinker to be a high school teacher, right?
Wicked sense of humor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, I can.
He just enjoys your company.
Okay.
Wow.
He's not there to frighten you. He's actually there to look over you.
Huh? You got two men there with you. Woo-hoo.
And then some.
All right, you guys.
And then Carolyn walks in every now and then,
Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome.
You represent his sisters to him.
Okay. Sure, because some of them are older, and I'm his mother's age. So he probably was a stinker to her too, but probably.
Oh yeah. He was a practical joker.
Yeah.
He loved that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's awesome. Wowee. How exciting. I know, Diana. That's so awesome. Thank you. All right, Warrior Girl, it's your turn, honey.
Well, like Diane, I'm sitting here going, oh my goodness, which story am I going to share? Like Amy, I've heard voices, ghosts with my physical ears, and I've also seen one. So I guess I'll share the three little sisters that lived in this old farmhouse that my best friend at the time had rented. At the very first day she was cleaning, getting ready to move stuff in, she could not use her vacuum cleaner in one of the three bedrooms. And she called me over. She's like, I swear there's a ghost in this house. It keeps turning the vacuum cleaner off on me. And I just want to finish this last room. And she was freaking out. So I went over there, and sure enough, it was two sisters that I saw at first with my mind's eye. The older one was like 13, 14 years old, and the other's like 7 or 8 or something. And the reason why the older sister was turning off the vacuum was because they had a third baby sister that was like 3 or 4 hiding in one of the other bedrooms, afraid of the vacuum because they didn't have them when the 3 girls lived. And it reminded me of like Little Women, I believe, was a movie or series or something at the time.
Yeah.
It was the late 80s, and that was the way that they were dressed. And they also, a couple months later, around Christmas time, she would turn on Christmas music and they would turn it all the way up. They absolutely loved it. And she was okay with it. The neighbors didn't like it so much. But the oldest girl,
about
yes, the oldest girl was so fascinated by me that I could see and communicate with her that she followed me home.
Oh,
The only reason why I know she did was because I live in New York State, and when the temperature drops below 0, like 20 degrees below 0 or something, when you step outside, you realize that you have nose hairs that you never knew you had before because they turn to icicles. And my son and I ran to the car because there had been almost a foot of snow that had dropped. I didn't realize until we heard the plows go through. And we jumped into the car at the same time, and I turned the key immediately to warm it up. And I was just about to say to my sons, I should have had you stay in the house and warm the car up, when all of a sudden somebody slammed on the back of the trunk. At that time, the lights from the car turning on had turned on, and I saw in the mirror the girl with long blonde hair looked just like any other teenage girl that would be in the neighborhood. And she saw that I saw her, and she took off running. And I looked out my side mirror, and I could still see her. She had the dress on like I had seen in my mind's eye, but I'm seeing her with my physical eyes. And I got out and looked, and there were no footprints in the snow. I couldn't see her anyplace.
Her name is Jennifer.
I'm sorry?
Her name is Jennifer.
okay.
Oh, thank you. It was very humbling, wonderful experience.
There's Jennifer, Amy, and Martha.
Okay.
Wow.
So did Jennifer go back to the house if she was running away, or she's still with Warrior Girl?
Oh,
No,
no.
she's still there.
Yes,
still
we
there?
came to the conclusion, but she would follow me in my car to go home with me. And that evening when we jumped in the car, the boys and I at the same time, she wasn't able to slip in.
So you don't think she's with Warrior Girl, Carolyn?
Yes, I do.
Oh, you
She
think
may
she
be
is
there.
with her? Okay,
She cannot see her, but she's
Okay.
there.
she's there.
All 3 girls are there.
Oh, you got all 3 with you.
Wow.
Wow.
Isn't it? It's interesting how she mentioned Little Women, and it reminds me of, it's very much like that, and they're connected.
is.
For
And
female.
you only have sons, isn't that right?
Yes, I have 3 sons living and 2 in heaven.
Mhm.
2 babes in heaven.
Yes.
Which I have to say quickly, thank you so very much for inviting me here and sharing your story to begin with, because I have seen and felt my 3rd born babe, who is now 23. I lost 8 months pregnant, and then 6 months after losing him, October 13th, 2000, it was a super full moon, I found out I was pregnant with identical twins, and when the egg split, I miscarried one the evening before. And so my son's identical twin, he's 22 now, I actually saw recently, looked like the sparklers that little kids play with on the 4th of July. I had opened up his bedroom. He was sound asleep, and the sparkly energy was right next to his head. And all of a sudden, it lifted up into the air and swooped down in front of me like Casper the Ghost in front of my face. And I swear it like gave me a kiss on the forehead. But I don't know. It could just be my imagination and heartfelt,
Joy
desire.
child.
You're his equivalent of Marmee.
Yeah, it's your joy child.
Yeah.
From Little Women. You're his equivalent
Yeah.
to Marmee.
Yeah. If you get a chance, watch it again. You'll see that Marmee was so blessed and beloved by her children. And I think that your son is definitely there with you as well. Yeah. I think he might like the girls.
Mhm.
Oh, I see him in my mind's eye, the
Sure.
Brandon, the 23-year-old, and
Mm.
but not the twin. It's been elusive
Okay.
until that one incident I just shared with you, and that only happened a couple months ago. But it reminded me of Casper the Ghost, the way it swooped, lifted up in the air, and swooped down right in front of my face.
Yes. Yes.
Acknowledge him.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Acknowledge him. That's what he's waiting for.
All right.
He's waiting for you to call his name and acknowledge him and for you to tell him, I love you.
Oh,
Oh,
there you
thank
go.
you. I will.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Wow.
I hold you. Yeah, I got the words. I hold you in my heart.
That's what I was going to say. They're connected by the heart. And that's, yes,
Wow. Okay.
always, forever.
Always.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Wow. That's just beautiful. Oh my goodness. What a night. I tell you. I think we could probably sit here for another 6 hours and still not cover as much as I'd like to have covered. But, this has been really wonderful. And so I'm going to say, I'm going to leave the last story, if you want to tell one, Peter and Carolyn, for you. Yeah. Oh, Tarot Stash says Diana has her hand up. And then
Yeah, I know. Keep thinking, is Diana asking questions?
I was watching his live
Like, you, me.
and I saw that. I went, oh my God, I'm going to be in a Zoom room and it's going to flash.
That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
For a while, we rented a cottage. It was a Victorian cottage. It belonged to an estate house that was no longer there. But the cottage and there was sheds and things that were converted into garages next door to it. We rented the cottage, and it was in the middle of nowhere, literally on off the beaten track. You go down a gravel road off of a main road to get to it, and it will wind around and lots of potholes and God knows what. It was pretty pretty mucky, especially in the winter. And I didn't have so much experiences there, but Carol had a few, and they were pretty pretty nasty. Some of the milder ones were that we had 2 bedrooms, and Carol's nocturnal, and I used to have to get up really early, so she'd sleep in the other room, watch TV until dark 30, and then come up to bed. And 4 o'clock every morning. Sorry, is it 2 o'clock?
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock. Somebody would sit on the bed or shake the bed and say, "Get up," to Carolyn. She was in a maid's room that used to go and set the fires and things in this main house. And being asleep at 2 o'clock wasn't going to, that didn't work. So Carol, would often say, "Oh, I got the visit again last night, and I just told him to go away. This was,
Do you know what year it is?
yeah."
We have electric heat now. Go away.
And that would work. Well, one night I'd gone to bed, and I heard this shriek from downstairs, because the main bedroom was immediately above the front room downstairs. Very steep stairs, literally 2 rooms up and 2 down. It was a very old cottage, and I got downstairs, and we got a curtain between the kitchen and the living room, and the curtain was up like that, flat, heavy curtain, one of these thermal things. It was completely up in the air and straight. Carol shrieked.
I bet.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, time to go to bed now.
Yeah. We know you're here. We know you're here.
Really? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that was pretty special.
Yeah. So see, Hershey, you're not the only one that gets the curtains being screwed up. That's pretty funny. That's funny. So everybody, I want you to know that the Ghost Chaser Chronicles book that Carolyn and Peter sent to me to be put in a drawing for, you can go to my community page on Heart and Soul Connected and put your name in, and if you would like to be considered in the drawing. And then once I announce who won it, you'll have to write to me at my email at Heart and Soul Connected, and I will get your address and mail it to you. I'm going to say at this point, it's probably easier for me to only have the U.S. mailing, because it's very cost prohibitive for me to mail to like Australia or even Canada. It cost me like $100 last year to mail something to Canada. So yeah, I'm sorry. I don't like doing that. And I will actually, be happy to pull a name again and do readings, because those I can do on Zoom and that would be fine. So anyway, put your name in, and maybe I'll have 2 or 3 readings that you can book with me. And, that will be for people that are out of the country. Make sure you put your country, and then I can know to put you into that drawing. Okay. So put US or outside of US, and I will pull for, several of those. Yes, Diane.
Is that book available for us to purchase?
Right.
I don't know, Carolyn. She found a couple copies, but
yeah, you can find them on Amazon.
Okay.
Oh, you can. Oh,
Okay,
awesome.
good.
I tried to, and I didn't find them. So okay.
This is a
I bet-
library. This was in a librray.
Oh,
wow. I definitely, if I entered, so either way, I'll have it.
okay.
I definitely want it.
I'll put your name in Hypnicity. I know you can't get it because you have an iPad. Okay. I'll put your name in. Thank you.
I'll have to put USB on mine behind me.
All right. So music, I'm sorry. You were looking for a miracle. I'm going to say at this particular juncture that things are moving at a very rapid rate. You're right between two eclipses. And I would say that if you could manifest a miracle, it would be right now. So
Yes.
So I would suggest you work. You just ask for what you want and put it in positive terms. And I certainly would love to be able to give you one. But Earth Spirits also saying believe and sending magic to you. So much love. You're welcome.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That sun and moon are going to be opposite each other. That's a paradox. Oppositions create miracles.
Miracles. We need them right now.
Amen.
So, yeah. So, Carolyn and Peter Booker, thank you so much for sharing your time with us and your stories. And Hershey,
thank you,
the Shadow Reader.
Ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you. We loved having our token man with us here tonight with the wonderful accent. I mean, I said in the chat, I could listen to you talk all night, Peter. Anyway, Hershey, the Shadow Reader, who has her own channel if you're looking for a reading, and Terry at Holding Your Space, the same thing. And Earth Spirit Amy has a channel as well. Diana Bowles is one of our very active members of the community. She's on several shows with us. And Warrior Girl is top-notch community person. We love her dearly. So, yeah.
Thank you, honey. Namaste. Love you too.
Namaste to everybody.
Stay safe.
And thank you so much for all of you in the chat. You're always so wonderful to come and spend time with us. So thank you. And maybe we'll be doing this again. I think this was really fun. So thank you so much, everybody. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Ellie.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah.